you have to be full stack. You have to be a fucking savage. A killer at sales, a killer at fulfillment, a killer at product, a killer at account management. There's a lot of lessons that need to be learned. I don't even lie to people anymore. Like, this shit is extremely hard. You're gonna get into headspaces where you start to feel bad for yourself, kind of victim mentality, right? No light at the end of the tunnel. All these kids who are starting agencies and not succeeding is directly based on their ability to handle pain, frustration, skill development, and everything. The only thing that's gonna make a difference between whether you're successful or not is how long you stay in the trench and how much work you put in, because eventually you're gonna figure it out. Why? Because we're not building rocket ships. We're not doing some shit that no one's ever done before. It's that simple, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna say there's all these tips and crazy tricks. And then don't expect shit in the first 5 years. If you can commit to 5 years, put in everything you have, I guarantee you, at minimum, you'll have a 6-figure self-made income. But really, you'll probably end up way further than that.
If you could give the Stevie that was working at the pizza store one piece of advice, what would that be?
I would basically say,
tell me the craziest thing that's happened to you over the last 3 months, business related.
the last 5 months have been one hell of a battle. It's been insanely challenging, but it was all supposed to happen. The universe does things on purpose so that you can really see where you're lacking, especially if you're trying to scale. And so, long story short, Facebook ad account got hacked with about 90 accounts on it. They spent like $300K in like 5 hours. That caused us to have the highest churn we've ever had ever, which was like
holy shit,
16% churn. Right around that time, I lost my best closer. He got recruited from us. What else happened? Simultaneously, our head of marketing had a baby, so he was out for 2 weeks. So all this shit just happened at one time. So it was like high churn, lost sales guy, people on vacation, all this fucking hornet nest going on. And
shit show.
Yeah, a shit show that like took a good 60 days to really recoup from. Oh, dude, there's way more. Through that going on, one of our top appointment setters also quit, and I had an exit interview with her on her request. She basically let me know that department training and overall just management was declining and wasn't evolving, so she wasn't really learning anything, so that's why she left. She just felt like it was stale, not growing. So I was like, fuck. That ended up proceeding into me really digging into this really big apartment for us and finding that shit was mediocre at best, and we ended up departing with our sales manager who was running that department for over a year. He used to be our top performer in that department. Yeah. It's true. What got you here necessarily won't get you there. And the 8-figure formula is it's a tough formula. Like, I'd honestly say going from 5 to 10 has been more challenging than going from 0 to 10K. It feels like it probably is not as hard, but it reminds me of the war stories. Yeah. And I'm fine with it. I'm cool. I'm in the trench right now. You see me dressed like this, but you can also see me with camouflage, army hat. For the past like 5 months, just in the trench, fucking revamping the landscape of how every department needs to be, removing C players, improving our hiring processes, and overall just our training and our protocol. It all stemmed from a 2-month shit show, and I'm glad it all happened.
So this isn't your first rodeo. I did some digging. I watched some of your videos, and I believe, your story, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were working in like a pizza factory, something along the lines of that. And then, obviously went through a shit ton of trials and tribulations to get to there. So curious to know, given, all the trials and tribulation that you've been through, when you were in the thick of it, when it was as bad as it's been, where was your headspace at?
Dude, I mean, obviously you're going to get into headspaces where you start to feel bad for yourself. Kind of victim mentality, right? No light at the end of the tunnel. If you're good, that shit lasts one day, right? If you're good at checking yourself and realizing, thinking that doesn't lead to any outcome, any positive outcome. So it would get back to the default mindset, which is you're gonna figure it out, period. You are gonna figure it out. It's just showing up and making mistakes and learning from each mistake. If you make a mistake twice, that's your problem. The whole goal is make mistakes, learn from the mistakes, and do it as fast as possible. But yeah, there's dark times, but then the next morning, just fucking default mindset. You're gonna figure it out.
How are your confidence levels as you were going through this? Did you ever face any times where you're like, fuck?
Oh yeah, dude.
Tell me about it.
I still face, you talking about in the beginning stage?
No, I'm talking about even recently.
Oh yeah.
You've gone through this, you've built this, and it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So typically the confidence levels take a hit when you initially don't know what exactly the reality is like you truly don't know what's wrong in the company. Typically it could be a lot of different things, right? And so the painful part is you can't pinpoint it with absolute confidence on like this is exactly what needs to be done, these two things. And then after that, you can know what needs to be done, but then you actually need the skill sets, the strategy, and the balls to fucking push that forward, to remove that constraint, to continue scaling. And so low confidence comes in the points where you're figuring out for 100% certainty, this is exactly what the problem is. And then once you design the strategy to fix those problems, and then you start getting them into motion, then everything goes back up. Just living in conviction, right? In any time when you're not really sure, I can tend to have a little hit on my certainty, which is directly correlated to confidence. But even now, like in the fucking trench, like absolutely dialed in, and I'm just extremely confident that everything we're doing, like I'm 100% sold it's the answer. So I feel fucking great. But when I don't know, kind of shitty feeling.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, from my experience, it's funny. I actually have a bit of a funny story with this. The best way to tell the story is I have a girlfriend. I've been with her for about 7 years. And she was with me when I had $100 in my bank account, and I was just trying to make it to the NHL, which was my first plan. And I remember in the earlier stages when I would sit there and I would go through all these problems and like clients were churning, whatever the fuck was going on. And because she was, kind of been with me since day one, I would always bring it up with her. And she'd be like, and at the time she'd be like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Like, do we need to shut it down? Like, maybe you need to go to school, like all this shit, right? But at this point now, if I go to her and we're in tough times and I tell her the same thing, she's like, Dylan, shut the fuck up. In 2 months from now, your company's going to be 3 times the size. I hear this story every 6 months. So with that data set in my mind, and my business partner talk about this a lot, it's like, when this happens, it's, it sucks. But I mean, at least the way that we've taken it, and I can imagine, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this from you as well, is it's like, it's almost at this point, it's exciting. Because we know that everybody else is going to run into this problem, and the harder the problem it is, the fewer people are going to be able to get through it, and then that's just going to build a further moat around our company versus everybody else.
I mean, that's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's not for everyone. I don't even lie to people anymore. Like, this shit is extremely hard. Whoever says it's easy, fuck. Let's get a lunch together so I can fucking honestly understand how psychotic you are, especially if it's your first time, right? First business, first time. There's a lot of lessons that need to be learned to go to 8 figures. There's so many lessons that have nothing to do with revenue. Like, it's crazy. So the harder the problem, the more limited the competition. Yeah. Obviously, that's a moat. So, yeah.
So I believe, actually speaking about moats, I wanted to dive into that a little bit because I used to be business partners with Matt Shields. I believe you know him. I don't know how well your relationship is, but I think you've done a couple of videos with him and whatnot, connected with him a couple times. And when we were working together on some projects, he actually brought up your name, and one of the things that he talked about that you did, something with like a call center or something, right? And I don't know if this was originally from Sam Ovens, because I know Sam Ovens talks about like building a moat around your services, like build a product that's so good or build a service that's so good that like competitors like just can't copy you. And at least from last I heard, that was something that you had done. Want to hear your take on what you did, how you did it, and I guess the story of developing that.
Yeah. So I scaled the agency to $50K a month with the normal agency model, which was like, we run your ads, you guys take the calls. And so churn really started to keep me stagnant for like 3-4 months around that time. And clients leave, and then it's your responsibility to understand what the root cause was of them leaving.
Yeah.
Typically, you have to go a few layers in to realize, okay, this is the problem. So once we realized that the phones was the majority of the issue, hands down. Around that time, I was listening to Sam Ovens. Never paid him $1. Guys made me. He posted a YouTube video, eating your customers' complexities.
Yes, I watched the same one.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I was like, well, this is a massive complexity. And if the agency is going to be this way, I don't even want to do it. And at the time, I was probably making $40K a month profit, and next thing you know, another client's gonna quit. We look, and I was like, this is fucking bullshit. So I was like, yo, don't quit. We're gonna take the calls for the next 30 days. Me and my COO. We didn't hire someone else. And that's a big tip here. The reason why we're where we're at and we're as savage as we are, and you guys will see this all pan out, especially in the next 12 months, is we're full stack. Like, I've been in every single role deep in every role, like designing like from sales to marketing to account management to the appointment setting role to managing the appointment setting role to designing everything within it from a strategic perspective. We're in there. We're not scared to get our hands dirty. And so we started taking the calls. So the initiation of the call center was based on a strategy that myself and my COO put together, who have a shit ton of sales experience. So the product right out the gate and the strategy out the gate was like certified from us, like real stats that we put on the board. So basically how it started was client got like 3 appointments. Following month got him 14 appointments and he closed like 5 of them. Like literally just 5x the results in 30 days when we took the calls. He immediately upsold. We just said, how much should we charge more? Fuck it, 700. So we started charging $2,200 and then figured him out and then realized, oh shit, okay, let's try this for like 4 other people, 4. We're taking the calls while we're doing everything else. Yeah. We realized, okay, we're onto something here. And then that's when we had to actually build out what is nowadays a call center. And we're honestly the first ones to do it. We've been doing this shit for 5 years.
5 years you've been doing the call center?
5 years.
Oh shit, how long have you been in the agency space for?
I've had 7 full calendar years now.
How did walk through those last 7 years? Like year 1, year 2, year 3, like what was the progression? How did it look like? Has it been one agency the entire time? Have you tried a couple different niches, different companies?
Yeah, one agency, one brand, everything. What do you want to know? Like in terms of what was the revenue progression like or what?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a little bit of research into you in preparation for this podcast and whatnot, but you know, maybe there's a lot of people that are watching this that don't know you, right? Don't even know your story.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe, share your backstory.
Okay. Yeah. So year 1, didn't get my first client until month 7, working like insanely hard. Had 0 skills at the time too, basically retarded. And first year did 20K in sales. Cause by month 7, the moment I got my first client and then I started just obsessing over it, I got to 20K first year. Second year, just kept doing the same shit. I think I finished 190K. Third year did 580. Fourth year did 1.2. Fifth year did 2.8. Sixth year did 4.4. Seventh year did 5.4. This is the next year and painful Q1. But it's all supposed to happen to get to the next ascension. And in the end of last year, we merged into dental. So we're basically building an umbrella healthcare agency under one brand. It'll probably end up being 2 major verticals, maybe 3, depending which ones are worthy enough. But yeah, that's the goal.
So with this hellfire that we just happened, you spent a good portion of that in Puerto Rico, correct?
No. So I was in Puerto Rico 3 weeks ago. To be honest, I've just been fucking in this. I work from home.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, dude. Like, I had to replan some org charts and some big projects. And I was like, yo, let's dip. Like, that day, I was like, let's dip. We were supposed to go to New York City. The weather's shitty. We're like, where else can we go? We look up Puerto Rico, the Ritz-Carlton. Sick-ass spot. If you ever want to, just honestly work and think and just be fucking pampered, it's fucking great. But yeah, I was there for a week, work on some big projects, and I just wanted a new perspective, and it worked out wonderfully.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to know more about, like just putting yourself in that new environment. Like, did you have any new like paradigm shifts or new perspectives that like really kind of change your outlook going into the rest of the year here?
Yeah. Well, one is it's good to be like, a lot of people say don't spend money. Obviously, there's a ratio of what you need to do. But like, for example, if you decided to go to the Ritz-Carlton for a week, just be prepared to spend at least 25 grand in the entire expense. And through there, everyone there is fucking savage. And just being able to like, there's moments where like work can be a little like, there's a lot of friction against you and you're just fucking kind of just doing this work. And then there's times when like you're in this scenario where it's like, fuck, like let's wake up early. My desk is literally outside on the ocean. I have everything set up. So I was just like this to do these projects, it wasn't like friction. It was more like just enjoying the whole fucking thing. Even though I was working 12, 14-hour days, it was like enjoyable as fuck. And part of it just has to do with, I mean, some of you guys might be superheroes and shit, but for me, I gotta leave the house sometimes, bro. Like I need to fucking get the fuck out. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And so if I can have an escape to Puerto Rico or have an escape to a spot I find in Mexico or just going to different places where I'm just dialed in, still working, dude, it's so powerful to keep that fucking engine going. Because dude, burnout is real sometimes. Like it's not that you're not doing the work, it's more of like, are you enthusiastically fucking creating this shit, or is it kind of like I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but
100%. No, I couldn't relate with that more. I actually wanted to, because I know you talk about just getting the fuck out of the house. And I think another thing that I've seen with you, and I think probably a lot of your audience notices about you too, is you take fitness real seriously. I don't know if that's, I think you got like a backyard gym or something set up. What's your, couple questions with that. A, why? Like, why do you take it so seriously? What are your goals with it? As opposed to like I'm just going to grind, make as much money as possible and worry about health later.
Yeah. So first off, off, that's my good friend Carlos's backyard. He lives a mile down the road, sick ass gym. And for me personally, like the more, I've always worked out my entire life. So I wrestled in high school seriously, and then I've always been in like combat type of situations and training and environments for a long time. So it's kind of hard. Some people like drop off out of nowhere, even though they were like collegiately savages, and they get all fat. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy, because you used to be like the most insane fucking person. For me, it was always this thing where it's like, dude, it's a good stress reliever, and it's a good something else to focus on that's like not the business. So I think for me personally, I use, when I have a lot of stress mentally, I like to balance that stress to cancel it out with physical stress, saunas. I even like all the cold. I like all that type of stuff, because it kind of like gives me a clear head. You know, like runner's high? Do you run at all?
I'm big, yeah. Actually, like 2 years ago, I ran a 100K ultra.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, my business partner's just in a marathon yesterday too. So
dope.
yeah.
Dude, stress and like brain fog comes, and it's almost like one of those things. The more you're pushing, the more you're going. You're gonna have days where you don't feel like total clarity and you have stress. Bro, working out clears that shit so quick. Like a run can cure so much. Like if you're fucking at a point where you're just like, what the fuck, dude, go sprint 3 miles, come back, and then you realize it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
But why work out? There's more reasons too, bro. Like who I like in terms of dating women, things like that. Like I attract what I do. So I also like girls who are physically fit personally. So it's like mental, it's just overall just love doing it 70% of the times. And then also like you attract what you are, you know what I'm saying?
Stevie's not into heifers. I'll note that down.
Yeah, I'm not. No.
That's good. So recently, I believe you ventured off. You have a consulting or coaching program too?
Yeah, so I have an inner circle.
It's interesting. I actually moved away from that a few months ago, so I'm curious to hear where your thought process is behind that. Like, what's your mission behind that, and what's your long-term goal with that? And also, what does it look like?
Yeah, so the inner circle is basically, I mean, now that I really think about it, it's probably best for agency owners doing over 100K a month.
Yeah.
Who are really trying to build like a real company, because I mean it's really hard to even find a group of individuals who are even near like the level of like operations and then end game that we're in. So if you're that type of individual who's ready to have those conversations and pull the levers that need to be pulled to even have a proper exit, like for me, a lot of people sell their agencies but they're still broke. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be real, I feel like I've told these people too, like, dude, I live in South Florida. Like, this shit is so expensive. I feel broke as hell out here. Like, the difference between, like, being able to afford a $5 million house and not is the difference between, like, a fucking shack and getting to that next. Like, the gap is insane. And so it's probably good that I'm here, but at the end of the day, it's like, dude, like, bro, even if you sell an agency for 10 mil and then you pay tax, even if it was no earn out and then you end up with, what, 6.5 mil, bro, you're still broke. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're still broke. You still got to figure some other shit out. Unless you're like super low overhead type of individual who's just going to coast.
Yeah.
But that ain't me. Unfortunately, I like nice shit and I like good experiences. So I understand that about myself. So I have to actually build a real company.
And so what does this inner circle look like? Is it group calls? Is it one-on-one?
Oh, yeah. So right now, it's basically we're doing 1 call a week, 2-hour call. And everyone in the group, we understand. I want everyone to clearly understand what the constraints are in their agency actually stopping them from scaling. Like, that's step 1, is actually knowing what you need to do and then having the strategy to actually solve them. And then after that, the biggest part is just the accountability, because to actually put a strategy together and then actually move forward on that strategy and solve it usually requires investing more money, training people, removing people, and just fucking driving hard, which is what I realized. Dude, that accountability of other people going through that is tough. And so breaking plateaus there's times in the agency where you're scaling, it's like, yeah, this is so fun, and then you hit a plateau. Yeah. And then you got to realize, well, what the fuck am I about to fix here? Once you know how to fix it, you have to put a strategy in place, and then you got to fucking do it. Yeah. And sometimes it's not just right away. It's kind of like, do it. And then you start to break through again. It's that simple, bro. Like, I'm not even going to say there's all these tips and crazy tricks. Like, we're just business 101. Like, isolate the problem, create the fucking strategy, have the balls to actually solve the problem. And when I say balls, it's because it does take fucking a nutsack to fucking build a team, spend the money, do what you got to do to then end up higher and then regain profitability or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah. No, it's actually like super relatable. Like, we've actually been hit at a plateau for probably about 4 months now. We've been hovering around anywhere between 150, 200 for the last like 4 months, and we just invested a lot of money into consultants, outside people, outside of advisors, all that kind of stuff. We've like tripled our ad spend, like all that kind of stuff, and it's like right now it looks like we're just finally coming over the cusp of that. So I'm curious to hear, like, of these people that are coming in at $100,000 a month, like what do you see as the most common bottleneck that these people are facing?
Yeah. So the way I see the agency, there's 4 ingredients to scale an agency. You have sales,
Yeah.
churn, price point, and then actually building out the team to fulfill on the growth, operations, and systems. And so it's either one or two of those things are crushing people from growing. So one example could be, believe it or not, sales. Like there's a point where the bigger you get, revenue churn naturally gets bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
So if you take 5% of 500,000, that's 25,000 naturally lost every single month, no matter what, even at a great churn.
Yeah.
So as you're scaling your sales team in the sales machine, in terms of the channels, the demo production, and the sales team actually closing deals, has to continue to strengthen and be better. Because when sales equals churn, when inflow of sales equals outflow of churn, you plateau. And so one example could just be good product, good churn, good price point, has the team to literally even double on staff right now, but founders still in closing, wearing multiple hats, calendars half of what it should be, no SOPs, nothing's documented yet to even bring in someone new. Like the reconstruction of the entire thing has to happen from scratch. That can be one example. Second example is killer at sales, product suspect, super high churn. You can't outrun churn forever. Like fucking let's just call it 100K a month, a 20% churn. That's you're losing 20K a month or whatever. Nothing's worse than spending all this ad spend, closing all these deals. Sales is performing high, and then out the back end, people are just losing just as fast as they're coming in. That's a huge constraint, right? Like that's a big project in itself.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that we've also been driving home a lot at our company recently is, I know it's the title of the book, it's not super related to the book, but the concept of going from good to great with everything, right? And it's like the difference between good and great on paper might only seem like this much, but in the output that delivers on can be 10x, right? And whether it be like YouTube, whether it be really what like our biggest focus over the last 3 months or so has been like product. Going from like a good product, a good service, because like what we do is we do a lot of like done for you, we'll run ads for people, do cold email for people, done for you client acquisition, and it's like the difference between like being good at that and being great at people at that, and then being great and then being able to do that for 100 people at the same time is just like 100x the input to get to that great.
100%. Like product is everything. I think Alex Ramosi says it's like first most important skill set is just the ability to actually build a good product. Then it's marketing, then it's sales. Most people have it backwards. Sales, marketing, product, which is
that's
why
what we did for the longest time. Yeah, that's what we did for the longest time.
Yeah. So it comes to a point where, and some people never get to this point, but I got to it at 50K a month, where like the churn scenario, you're just so fed up with it that now you realize for sustainability and longevity, the product has to be 95% of the energy now, because we're just going to continue this hamster wheel thing, and that's just not fun.
No, for sure. Do you have any partners?
No.
Really? That's impressive. Why not?
There hasn't been any like very strategical pieces yet. I mean, I'm not going to say there might not be partners. If I do get a partner, like a real one, it's definitely a big strategical play to like get us closer to that exit number and that EBITDA. I think the answer to why I don't have a partner from the beginning is, and I think this is a good lesson for all newbies and just overall beginners, is like, if you want 100% equity, then you have to be full stack. Like you have to be a fucking savage, like a killer at sales, a killer at fulfillment, a killer at product, a killer at account management, a killer at the whole thing, so that when you start to bring people on, you know how to train them to your expectations, and it's a ton of work, but you don't really have any weaknesses. Obviously everyone has weaknesses, but overall you're pretty fucking strong, and now you don't need to hire someone based on this weakness that you can't sell or that you're shitty at managing people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that's how I've retained 100% equity, is like everyone in my company for the most part now, well, everyone, the initial 10, I've personally put a bunch of time in developing them into now who they are, which took a lot of time and a lot of work. So if you don't want to put in all that work and all that time, this is where partners are very necessary. And there's nothing wrong with having partners. If you realize, look, the amount of time it's going to take for me to gain these skills and do all this work and then train and do that, I'd rather just not. I'd rather get a partner who's really good at these things, and that also works too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Last thing I want to touch on here, content, YouTube. Is this more of a personal journal? Is it more to help scale the consulting company? Like, what's your goal behind it? Why doing it? Why spend the time? I noticed you got like videographers. I'm assuming you're not editing it.
No.
You got a little bit of a team there. So what's the goal behind all that?
Yeah, so I think one initial goal was like I think I got a lot to share, and the fact that I could start the content when I did, given that like I now popped above the fucking water, right? Got a fucking breath finally, and I was like, fuck, let's just kind of show people where we're at, what we've done. Overall, it's just kind of entertaining even for myself. You just want to look at like a personal reason. 2, network. I mean, my personal brand, for how small it is, I have, pretty strong network from it. 3, indirectly, I have at least 5 employees from YouTube. Shout out to all you guys who are watching this. Straight up, just, 4, for the inner circle, to be honest, like the racehorse is digital aux, like all day. Like you will never see me. I don't even like it that much. I don't even have the bandwidth to do these big coaching programs. And if I can pour into digital aux and then on this side have a small group of individuals who are actually trying to build real shit, and we can honestly have conversations around these types of topics, I enjoy that. Like I actually enjoy that. Now there's no way it's going to 150 employees, 60 members, and any of that. Like it's just impossible. Like it's a small project that I actually like doing. Given that I get to talk about real shit, just real things that are going to scale the business.
Definitely. Got two more little questions for you here. First one here: if you could give this Stevie that was working at the pizza store one piece of advice, what would that be?
I would basically say, for your first business, pick a low overhead, easy to start business that is thoroughly proven. Once you do that, the only thing that's going to make a difference between whether you're successful or not is how long you stay in the trench and how much work you put in, because eventually you're going to figure it out. Why? Because we're not building rocket ships. We're not doing some shit that no one's ever done before. Like the agency model, for example, it's been around for a long fucking time. Like all these kids who are starting agencies and not succeeding is directly based on their ability to handle pain, frustration, skill development, and everything, because this is a proven fucking model. Like it's been done multiple times. So the difference between who's going to be successful and not is just who's actually going to stay in the fucking driver's seat and fucking hold on tight and just keep fucking going regardless, because it's proven. Everyone's doing it. It's like, open your eyes. So I would just tell them exactly what I did. Pick a proven business model. Don't go fucking into debt trying to start it, or like have all this expense that you need to do to start this business. Start small. It's your first business. And then don't expect shit in the first 5 years. If you can commit to 5 years, put in everything you have, I guarantee you at minimum, you'll have a 6-figure self-made income, but really you'll probably end up way further than that. But it's just having the correct expectations. I think most people just need to hear that in general,
Sure. And last thing, tomorrow I'm sitting down with your boy Hunter. Anything I should ask him? Any insecurities about? Like anything we could really get him with?
I would just ask him insecurities. I would say, oh my God.
Just a question that he's going to look at me and see like, fuck you, Dylan, for asking.
Yeah, fuck you, Dylan. I mean, I know Hunter so well.
Seems like he's a really good guy if you got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the questions would be simple, to be honest. I mean, I have questions for him, but I don't know. They might be boring questions. Just overall, like, what's your 3-year plan? Or like, how are you going to make $1 million a year? Like, what's that vehicle? What are you going to do? Yeah. Those are simple questions though, I
was just wondering if you guys had any like inside jokes or something that I could get under your skin right off the bat.
Nah, but Hunter is a G. Hunter, he's a G. He's got a track record. I mean, he's helped us a ton at Digital Aux with marketing and organizing shit. But yeah, that's my goal. When are you making him, like, what's going to be the vehicle to get $1 million a year? Like, what is it?
For Hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What's your vevehicle? How are you going to make $1 million a year?
Well, exactly what I'm doing. I mean, hopefully we can make that happen in the next few months here. But
and what do you do exactly again?
Yeah, so we are a done-for-you client acquisition, and we do a little bit of consulting for basically anybody who sells something high-ticket online. So we work with agency owners, we work with coaches, we work with consultants, and we used to do coaching programs, like all that kind of stuff. We actually ended up giving everything away for free. You can come to the group calls, we give away everything for free there, and then it's like, okay, if you want us to do this for you, you can work with us on a done for you, done with you basis. Our main acquisition channels will either be a cold email setup and management for you, or a ad full funnel, like a tripwire. Like, I don't know if you've seen any of those ads where like somebody will be selling a $3 product and it'll upsell. It's like, we will run those for like, we work with, and guys, if you go onto YouTube, you see those YouTube ads, there's a couple guys that we're probably running their ads.
Is it like So mainly info product, like
Yeah,
coaching?
mainly info product and agencies as well.
Dope. I don't have anything else. You got any questions?
No, that's it, man. It was a pleasure having you on here. I'm gonna shout out all your shit in the description. Hopefully, you can get a little bit of get some new eyeballs on your channel as a result of this.
Yeah, I need to post more.
I'll tell you one thing: the difference between good and great in YouTube is a fucking landslide. Spent the last 2 months going into that. It's another example of the good to great.
Yeah, I mean, you can only pick, like, kind of going on, stemming from Sam up. Like, there's only so many battles that you can pick if you want to win them really well.
Yeah.
And like, dude, you have to be good at just fucking narrowing down. And like, so YouTube for me is like the most passive fucking thing possible. As you can probably see, it's fucking just ripping real quick. My whole goal is just people realize that like I'm trying to build something legit, and I'm not going to put all this time into advertising any of my consulting or working with me. It's either like you see it or you don't. If you see it, then you're a chosen one. You're a blessed individual, because not most people are going to actually. I just don't think most people have gone through it. That's if you want the 8-figure story, right? You want that type of you want that sort of thing. And
for us, like YouTube, because we're serving coaches, consultants, people running online companies, like YouTube's been a huge acquisition channel.
Oh, I bet.
Right? Like I would say 70%, like YouTube ads and cold email are our own 3. So we actually use all the same acquisition channels that we'll install for our client systems. And like our whole spiel is we'll just install the same systems our $200,000 a month agency does for you. But yeah, like ads and cold emails catching up. The last 2 months have been really kind of picking it up. But even still, like, YouTube's probably 50 to 70% of our cash in, like our new sales comes from that.
Do you guys we're so knit, do you even help 100K a month agencies? How many do you think are out there? Like ones that are actually trying to get to like the next level? I don't know many. That's why my network must be pretty small, because I honestly can count on like 2 hands.
One of the things that we're doing to increase lead quality is make the type of content that your target audience watches, right? And I actually, Hermosi was actually talking about this recently. It's like people who watch vlogs watch vlogs. People who watch boring business trainings on how to scale a company watch boring business trainings on how to scale a company. And it's rare that like somebody who's like wanting to watch like documentary and then like a relationship advice video is like also sitting there and watching like long ass hour YouTube trainings. Like the only thing that I'll ever watch on YouTube is like an hour plus Ravi Abuvala, Alex Hermosi presentation, like boring ass content. And so one of the things that you'll see on my channel is like we're doubling down on long form podcasts with killers like yourself. We're doubling down on like Word doc, like just sitting there for an hour and like going through an entire training to really speak to, because you don't get as many views as that, but we have we have Hyros set up, so everything like we can attribute it, and it's always like I'll post like some highly animated like Iman Ghazi style video and it's like nothing. Maybe a lot of views, no revenue. Then I'll sit down there for like 45 minutes going through like a sales script that I used to run, and it's like that one will make all the money.
Less views, but it's for the people who watch it are actually like...
and then also being like super clear with your packaging and like speaking to the people that are struggling with those specific problems, right? Like I can't even tell you the last time I watched a video on how to make your first $10,000 in a month.
Bro, I don't even know how to make $10,000 a month. I forgot.
But it's like, I'm on YouTube. It's like, okay, how do we increase show-up rates? How do we increase lifetime value per customer, lifetime gross profit per customer, right? And I'm going through these videos that have like 800 views by somebody who built some XYZ company, and like those are the ones I'm consuming.
Oh, yeah. 1,000%. Because all that shit flies way over people's heads. And YouTube's like, oh, people must not like this. But it's like, it's a fucking gem.
And so I'm doing my best to recreate those gems so we can attract our ideal customer, which is agency owner, consultant, coach, somewhere between 20 and 50K a month.
It's not all about subs.
Bread and butter.
It's not about sub number. I mean, obviously, if you can do sub number and accurate content based on who your demographic is at the same time, I mean, that's fucking great. But I mean, I think there's people with 5K subs making way more than people with 500K subs.
Of course. And we see that all the time. Like one of our clients who we've actually been ripping with recently, they got like 400,000 subscribers on YouTube and they were making like no money.
What vertical?
They were like a crypto influencer. Coaching. It's like a SaaS and then coaching on the back end.
Is that your real background?
For what?
Is that the ocean? Is that where you are? Is that your real background back there?
Oh yeah. That's my background. That's Vancouver.
Damn.
Yeah.
Poppin'.
I moved into this place about 3 months ago. 51 floors high. It's
dope, bro.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, appreciate it. This was a pleasure.
Let's stay connected. And then I'm curious about your shit. Send me your website and stuff.
Oh, of course. Definitely. Yeah, I'll send it over to you on Instagram.
Sounds good.
Alrighty, man. Chat with you later.
Peace.
Bye.